Hi, everybody. It's Reverend Therese Lee, and this is Unity Spiritual Center, Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. Welcome. We're grateful that you're here with us. Let us start in prayer as we always do. Living, loving presence, we are grateful for the internet, for our time together, for the consciousness of our open minds, open hearts, and open ears as we join together today in celebrating the holiness of our wholeness. And so it is. We are grateful and we say together, Amen. As you join us, Unity Spiritual Center, Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, put in the box where you're from, your name, if you would like to receive a prayer call, if you have a prayer intention, a prayer request, want to receive our e-news. Let us know. Let us hear from you. We are grateful. We have been doing a series on wisdom, the wisdom of the truth of who each of us is, born in the image after the likeness of all that is great and good, which we call God in unity, at least I do. You might call it higher power, the universe, the great creator. It's all right. Whatever your name is, it's all right. The powers that are within us, innate, we come loaded with them as we arrive into this miraculous world. And then these wisdoms support us. And then we get to live from this place of our holiness and our wholeness, which is what I want us to talk about today. The wisdom of power is the name of the series, and power so far is passion and purpose, right? And last week we talked about oneness. And so today the W is about our holy, H-W-O-L-L-Y, holy, H-O-L-I-N-E-S-S, holy wholeness. You know me, I love a good word and a good play on words. So let's start with a story that's true. And I think you'll understand why when I get done sharing it with you. Several decades ago, there was a band, a pretty good band. I think we will all agree. They played in local venues. They began to gain notoriety and a bit of a name for themselves. As they grew in popularity, the story goes, the drummer of the band started to wrestle with whether or not he was worthy of being in such a band. Everybody breathe with me. He thought the other members were really the band, and he was pretty much the odd man out. This drummer was feeling so badly about it that he was seriously thinking about quitting. So he decided, let me confide this in my BFF, who was the lead guitar player of this band. And much to the drummer's surprise, the guitar player said, odd that you would say this to me. I've been thinking that the rest of you in this band are really the band, and I should quit. Everybody breathing? Later, the drummer and the guitar player told the story of their feelings of, less than worthiness to the lead singer of the band, who said that he too had been having doubts about whether or not he, as the lead singer, was good enough to be in a band with such greatness. And he wondered if he should quit. So let's stop for a moment. Have you ever been in a group or a situation where maybe you didn't feel like you were good enough? Maybe you didn't feel like you belonged. So take a moment, get in touch from your head to your heart space. Think about it. Maybe you didn't belong. I can recall several times, even in the recent years, since I've become a minister. Everyone else warranted being there, but maybe not me. Maybe you've had these feelings. Maybe you're having them today. I don't know. I hope not. And then what we know is that people who know you recognize you and say, what? What are you talking about? Of course you're worthy to be here. Of course we want you part of this group. Of course I can see your holy wholeness. So you don't have to really answer the questions. It's kind of rhetorical, but I suspect there's some heads nodding. Yes? Yeah. So I can deduce that probably there's a few of us who would say yes. So let's take a breath in together and take heart. Take heart because you're in pretty good company. Actually, you're in very great company, besides my own, of course. Because you might have heard of who these mystery musicians are, who thought that maybe they weren't good enough to be worthy of the band they were in. The drummer was Ringo Starr. The guitarist was George Harrison. And the lead singer was Paul McCartney, now Sir Paul McCartney. The band was the Beatles. Now, apparently, John Lennon had a strong sense of self. Woo woo! Yay, John. Right? Yay, John. So it's fascinating, isn't it? To learn about these people that we know about. 3 of the 4 did not think that they were worthy of being a member of the greatest rock band ever. And if it wasn't the greatest, certainly one of the most influential, especially for people our age. 3 of the 4 members thought they weren't good enough. True story. Everybody breathe. They didn't know, they forgot about their holy worth. WHOLLY worth. The wisdom that's in the power of knowing the truth of who each of us is individually and, of course, collectively. So when you're having one of those moments of, I'm not worthy, think about Ringo, George, and Paul, right? And remember, seriously, remember that you and I are rock stars. How do we know? Because we're here. We are here together doing the work and the will of God. So the question of the morning is, are you owning your innate power, value, and worth? Or do you allow the feelings of unworthiness to take over? So let's talk a little bit about and unpack this unworthiness that creeps in, doesn't it, sometimes? If we don't live from our true power, it is a big block to the worthiness and the wholeness and the truth of you and me. It is the biggest block to our holiness. And what I know about us is that the truth of us is that even if we don't know it in our head all the times, we get to remember to know it in our heart space. And then in our heart up to our head and back and forth and back and forth. Every single one of us, you and me, everywhere, everyone is worthy. It can't be any other way. And how do we know this? Because we are born in the image and after the likeness of all that's great and good. Right? What I call God. So say to yourself, I am worthy. And if you want to give it a little attitude, you can. I am worthy. Say it again with your playground voice. I am worthy. And breathe. Own it. Know it to be true. And it doesn't matter what you've been told up until now, how you've been treated or not treated up until now, whether you were abused or abandoned up until now, whether you know what anyone's opinion of you, just let it go. What you've done up until now or haven't done up until now, all right. We breathe into it, we let it go, because that's all the past. What we have is what? The gift of this now moment, which is called the present. Appropriately so, yes? None of what was changes the truth of you and me. Divine and whole. Holy worthiness. Say it with me. I am divine, I am whole. I am divine, I am whole. Unity and other New Thought churches teach this. Not all churches teach it. We know that, don't we? And I remember as a kid, not even understanding the divinity of the spark within me. And then I found unity. Yay, 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 yay. So it's always been there, whether we've known it or not. We are spiritually perfect. Individualized centers in God consciousness. How beautiful is that? It reminds us of the truth of who we are and why it's important that we're here, right? It's a spiritual truth. And sometimes rather than believing this, what happens is we might think of this story instead. And of course, it's a fabricated story, that when the souls are all coming in to be part of this earthly experience, God, a God figure, whatever that looks like, is standing there with a stamp, 2 stamps. One says what? Unworthy on the head. The other, worthy, right? So as the story, fabricated story goes, all of these souls are standing in line, ready to come to earth, ready for their next assignment as spiritual beings, and God stamping on their forehead like an inspector general, right? That says, worthy, unworthy, worthy, worthy, whoops, unworthy, yikes, unworthy. It's fabricated. It's not true. No matter what anyone has spoken in your ear about you. There is no stamp on our foreheads that we come loaded in with. The worthiness is in our hearts, woven in the very texture and the fabric of our being. Are you willing to own it? We come in with original blessing. That is not something I learned as a child. I learned I had original sin, which is another fabricated story. Original blessing allows us then to realize, oh, I have arrived. Part of the magnificence of the omnipresent, omniscient, wonderful being called the Creator that we talked about last week with our oneness, right? So, who's putting the stamp on you? Metaphorically, so to speak. We do it unto ourselves, don't we? Worthy and unworthy, up until now, and we get to stop it. We get to see ourselves as whole and complete and know that we are a blessing. And we then bless with our very presence. Our attitude is contagious. We talk about that. The question is yours worth catching? Right? And so we get to take time to step into the wisdom of the truth of us, acknowledging our passion and our purpose and our oneness, so we can then step into the holiness of our wholeness and be what we've come here to be, who we've come here to be, as the very unique, unrepeatable expression of God. How wonderful is this? How magnificent is our light, right? How wonderful that we get to step into our divine birthright. Worthy, deserving. Say it to yourself. I am worthy, I am deserving. Say it now out loud. I am worthy, I am deserving. And we breathe into it. God's grace is always free, always poured upon us, comes in through and as each of us out into the world each time we choose to be that light in another's life, starting with our own lives first. Your spirit already is perfect as an individualized center in God consciousness. The Bhagavad Gita says, God is flawless and the same in all. Therefore, all persons are established in the one. 5:19 from the Bhagavad Gita. There is a message of greatness and wholeness and holiness. So today we affirm and confirm that there is no stamping. Right? There's no stamping. And whatever it is that comes to our mind that takes us into that unworthiness, we let it go, right? We let it go. All those thoughts that don't serve us, let them go. Now, you're thinking, but Therese, you don't know that I was told by my church, or I was treated this way or that way, or things that I've done that I regret, or. You're right, I don't know those things, but I know my own things. So let's agree together to let them go, to let them be part of a story that we no longer tell about ourselves, because we make up the story about being unworthy. So let's change the content. Let's change the cast of characters, so our lives are worthy and they show up as such. Thomas Merton, wonderful spiritual guy, author and poet, said, others can give you a name or a number, and they can never tell you who you really are. Merton says that is something you must discover from within. We say this in Unity every week. We're not going to tell you what to think. We're going to ask you to think and then rethink it. And then we're going to ask you to move from your head to your heart space to discover the truth of who you are, to uncover the truth of who you are. So feeling unworthy is just an old story that you've been telling yourself. And it's time to let it go. It's made up, but it's not a good story. And when those things come into my mind, I let them go. And then we get ourselves a new pen and we write the story of our holy wholeness, starting today. It's the new book of life called You. And I hope that each of us will do this. Take the time to see where our spaces get stuck and let them be unclogged, so to speak, unstuck, so the holy light of us can come through, shining as us, so that we show up as we're meant to be, who we're meant to be. living as the very holiness of the presence expressing as us, right? So this past week in the Bluffton Sun, I published an article on prayer. So I'll make sure it's in the next e-news for you and see what it looks like to pray from the presence as you, because that's what it's about, remembering the truth of the presence always present around us, in us, as us, through us. So let's take this a little bit deeper, you and I, right here and right now today. And I'm going to invite you to close your outer eyes, and this will be a mixture of meditation and self-discovery, so to speak. Yes? And let's take an inventory of what you're feeling right here and right now, because only you know that. So I want you to look for any pockets, any knots of unworthiness, any pockets of not good enoughness that might be hanging around you. You might be wearing them. Unworthiness, not good enoughness. And you might find them in more than one pocket, right? So for this morning, though, let's focus on the intuition that we have within us and breathe into the spirit that surrounds us. And we take another deep breath in. Don't try to figure out what the breath is about, what spirit is trying to tell you in this moment. Just be. Just be. And when that little monkey mind voice comes in that says, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's still here after all these years of spiritual work, breathe into it. Remember, time is a human made-up element. Yeah, we made it up. And we get to be kind to ourselves. Stop the chastising. Stop the negative self-talk and start to love you. And we breathe into it. And as we breathe into this knowing and we lower our shoulders, we let the tongue come off the roof of our mouth. And we breathe into our truth. You can feel each of the knots slowly untying themselves. Each knot of unworthiness, each knot of not good enoughness, let them all be untied. Let them all be untied. And we breathe together. And in the place of where the knots were, we get to see a ribbon. Whatever color. So mine would be teal, right? Or a sea green. And we see that it's a ribbon that's just floating away now. Floating away with all those thoughts of not enoughness, unworthiness, floating away. Each of those ideas that filled our pockets up until now of unworthiness and not enoughness, floating away. We breathe and we breathe. And as we bring our attention back to this time and this place, and we wiggles our toes and our fingers, right? Know that many of the things that we talked about today, that we talk about every week when you come to classes as well, or anything else, that we do together. We've heard it over and over, and yet we're not ready to hear it. And I hope you are ready today. So we're going to take a moment to anchor this work even farther within us this morning. And we're going to claim our worthiness and acknowledge our wholeness and celebrate our divinity. So go with me on this. This ceremony I usually do in person with people. And I've been given a little bit of special dispensation to do this for us today. To have you experience the full expression of your inherent worthiness. Are you ready? So, because after this, you've lost your right to feel unworthy. Are you ready? Okay. Here goes. The stories you have made up of your unworthiness are now removed from your mind, from your heart, and from your life. I am the worthiness princess of quite a lot in this moment, and so I tell you this in truth. By the power invested in me, ordained as the princess of quite a lot of worthiness, I hereby anoint you, each of you, holy, holy, worthy. WHOLLY, worthy. From now until forevermore, you and I. Feel it. Celebrate it. Say to yourself, I am worthy. I am worthy. Get a little bit of attitude. I am worthy. And let's let these words anchor into our minds and our bodies together. With these words from Rumi, who was a Sufi mystic, right? So close your outer eyes again. And repeat after me. I was born with great potential. I was born with great potential. I was born with goodness and truth. I was born with goodness and truth. I was born with ideals and dreams. I was born with ideals and dreams. I was born with greatness. I was born with greatness. I am meant to fly. I am meant to fly. To fly in highest consciousness. To fly from the highest consciousness. And so it is. We allow ourselves to be the light, to be the presence. So let's continue with our eyes closed for a moment and let this settle in. Holy, holy, worthy. Breathe into this knowing. Affirm it to be true within you. Remembering your go-to band members, right? Affirming the knowingness of worthiness that John presented as part of the Beatle Band is living in each of us as well. We breathe into this moment again and we say thank you. In the silence. Living, loving presence, we are grateful for the worthiness that we come loaded in with our spirit that leads us with each breath that we take. Thank you for each time we remember the truth of who we are, the very presence, the very light, invoking our passion and our purpose as we be our oneness and live from the divinity and the holy wholeness that each of us is. We pray this in the name, after the nature, and under the authority of the living, loving presence that is you and that is me, and so it is. Amen. And so we breathe into this moment together. Know that we are grateful as you practice your generosity with Unity Spiritual Center, Hilton Head Island, on our website at www.unityofhiltonhead.org, where there's a practice generosity button, and snail mail at P.O. Box 1392, Bluffton, South Carolina. We are grateful for your consciousness, for your presence when we're in church, when you're online, wherever it is in our many meetings and our classes. We're grateful from wherever you are in the world. We are one. And so it is. I'm Reverend Therese signing off. Have a great week. Many blessings. And we say, as we leave together, I am worthy. And so it is. Amen.